Fantastical Dragon Phantasme is an awesome hand trap like dragon monster that actually ends up being Pot of Greed most of the time and helps facilitate Dark Magician plays by its ability to mulligan as well as being a dark level 7 dragon. Phantasme's effect lets you draw cards when your opponent link summons, equal to the number of link monsters they currently control. Normally you'll just be doing it on their first link summon and just drawing 2 cards and putting one of them back, effectively going neutral in card advantage. So playing second, you'll have a 5 card hand, summoning the Phantasme, drawing 2, putting 1 back, meaning you'll still have a 5 card hand. However, now you have picked out the cards that you need. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You'll be able to find your Red Eyes Fusions, you'll be able to find your going second cards, hand traps, you name it, whatever you need to find, as well as this card on the field being a negate. Today in this video, we're going to talk about why I think Phantasme is potentially a 3 of in the side and even maybe the main deck going forward. 1, we already know how often Dark Magician can brick, so this card being able to mulligan your hand before you've even started your turn is absolutely huge. Of course, Phantasme is preferably a going second card that you could side in games 2 and or 3. However, main decking this card could be a strategy moving forward since there is a massive rise in link monsters on the ending board, mainly the SP Little Knight, and you know, occasionally the IP Masquerena or even the IP Masquerena going into the SP Little Knight. There's always going to be a link monster deck somewhere in the format, and I don't think Phantasme will ever necessarily be a bad side card to play in Dark Magician, because there's also one more effect. So point number 2 is when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can quick effect, discard 1 card, and negate the activation. So that's pretty cool. In my version of Dark Magician, that won't come up too often, but what's important about that effect is it helps you establish, even going second, the Dragon Knight lock. And what I mean by that is normally you're trying to get to your Circle, your Eternal Soul, and your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and or Dragoon. And this card can help facilitate that in a couple of ways, one of them being it's literally a dragon. The other one is it's a dark level 7, so if your deck happens to play Allure of Darkness, or maybe you play a rank 7 engine, like Eborn Illusion Magician, Red Eyes Flare Metal, or anything else like that, this card can help make those plays. So not only does this card synergize really well with the deck's natural brickiness, it can also help facilitate the deck's main board when playing a control style such as Dragon Knight, or it can help the aggressive style of the deck to summon Dragoon, being a dragon. The third aspect of Phantasme is its ability to find your side deck cards. So we mentioned in point 1, it lets you cycle through the deck, it lets you find your Red Eyes Fusion, it lets you find your Circle or Soul Servant, whichever piece of the Dark Magician triangle you're missing, or in branded builds, it helps you find Branded Fusion. In Red Eyes Fusion builds like my own, it helps you find Red Eyes Fusion. But going second and third, this card can also help you find your board breakers. It can help you find your super polys. It can help you find your evenly matched. Now, of course, if you find evenly matched, you've got a Phantasme on the field. However, you'll find that Phantasme often gets popped, or your opponent often has a way to remove it before your turn actually comes around. Sometimes, not all the time. So that's just something to keep in mind. You might not want to play Lightning Storm and evenly match with Phantasme, but it can still be brilliant with cards like Super Polymerization, Dark Ruler No More, or Forbidden Droplet. Another great card you could find is possibly Triple Tactics Talents or Triple Tactics Thrust, giving you more access to the deck. Another great card you could grab of this, of course, is Nibiru. Playing Nibiru alongside Phantasme is a sensational combo. Aside from the fact that you might have to tribute your Phantasme, it's still pretty good because your Phantasme probably drew you into the Nibiru, which is probably saving your life. Now for me in Dark Magician, I always say we have to play blowout hand traps. We can't really play the 1-for-1 exchanges because our deck doesn't really have any 1-card combos or starters outside of Red Eyes Fusion, which isn't even an in-archetype card. So therefore, since we lack the 1-card starters and we often need Rod, Souls, and Circle to get anything going, so I think it's quite neat that this card can help find those cards or find your side cards, essentially whatever you're missing, giving you an additional mulligan. And we all know that Illusion of Chaos in our deck fills a similar role, being able to search a Dark Magician monster and then put a card from your hand back on top of the deck, normally being one of those brickier cards. The other additional combo you can do here is you can put back a card like Soul Servant on top of the deck and then activate your Circle, and it will actually grab the card back. You know the Circle will hit, and you know you're not going -1 just by activating Circle and activating Illusion of Chaos. It's quite a nice feeling when it does come up. I'm sure if you've played Dark Magician, you know Circle in the TCG does not like to hit. It really doesn't add cards because there are a limited pool on the good Dark Magician spells and traps. Every day I think about whether Illusion of Chaos had been released as a spell, if the deck would be a lot better, since Circle, in theory, in that world, would be able to add Illusion of Chaos, and then Illusion of Chaos, of course, could add you Rod Souls or anything else you're after. But, you know, that's what I always envisioned, us getting a Rota-style spell, but instead we got Illusion of Chaos. Not complaining, just a thought I constantly have when I'm theory crafting the deck. Illusion of Chaos, of course, is searchable by Preparation of Rites, so, you know, at the end of the day, can't complain. We've got a Rota for our Rota that rotas our spells and traps, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is we have Prep that gets Illusion of Chaos, that gets Rod, and Rod gets a Dark Magician spell trap, so, you know, it's a 4-card combo to get 1 card. It's kind of nuts, kind of cracked in DM. So anyway, long story short, Phantasme is a fantastic card, as the name suggests, because it kind of facilitates all the bits that Dark Magician was missing. Had Timaeus the United Dragon been anything like Phantasme, I think we'd be playing it at 3, because honestly, the Timaeus monster is a bit of a joke. I think anyone who's played the deck knows it's a 1 or none. It's really not a good card. Apologies if you play more than 1, it's really bad. Similar to Secrets, but I think I like Secrets more. Secrets and Timaeus really don't need to be played at more than 1. However, a card like Phantasme, you can definitely get away with 2 to 3 without, you know, any punishment really. Of course, it's once per turn. However, if you're versing that Link deck and you're playing second, you really do want to see it. And if you do draw it for turn, you're kind of crying in the chat. Of course, in a Link-heavy format, such as a format like Spiral format, where, you know, every deck was gonna be Spiral, you could just main deck this card at 3. And if another format like that comes around, brilliant. This is a fantastic card for Dark Magician to main at 3. Otherwise, I think it's a very decent side deck card at 2 to 3. And playing it alongside other hand traps I mentioned earlier, or just going second blowout cards, such as Nibiru, Super Polymerization, Forbidden Droplet, Dark Ruler No More, or anything of that similar board control, you could definitely make an argument for this card at 3 in pretty much every Dark Magician style side deck. Whether you play Branded, Red Eyes Fusion, Ritual builds, it really doesn't matter. If you play Pure, fantastic. This can help you draw into all the pieces that you need. There's really just not a bad argument for playing Phantasme. And if you do have a negative or positive take on Phantasme, please drop it down in the comments. When this card originally came out, it was in peak Link format, where every deck had to link to summon its other extra deck cards, so Phantasme was a 3 of in every single deck. Similar to that of, I guess you could say, Fenrir. They're both level 7s though, so you know, it's good with DM. Speaking of Fenrir, this card could find you your Fenrir, but then you can't summon it. But still, that's pretty nifty. Anyway, that is the end of my Fantastical Dragon Phantasme rant. Thanks for listening, and if you do like Dark Magician content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy Loza, and I will be playing DM until the end of time. So I hope to see you guys along with me for the journey. Going into 2024, we're trying out some new tech. Let's go! DM, best deck.